Have you ever watched a movie that was so bad it made you question your entire existence? Is this really what millions of years of evolution have led us to? Do I ever want to watch another movie again? Why was the actor that played Hannah Montana's brother actually nearly 29 years old at the time of filming? I mean, that question is irrelevant, but still. I ask this because that is exactly what happened to me. I just watched the worst movie I have ever seen in my entire life, and that film goes by the name of Shark Side of the Moon. Banger title. I know, that's actually a pretty sick title. Anytime a movie has like a shark antagonist, you know the movie is probably going to be terrible, but I had no idea just how bad it was going to get. Let me read you the synopsis. Shark Side of the Moon travels back in time during the Cold War when the USSR developed hyper-aggressive sharks. Okay, so you know the sharks that we have now? Yeah, picture them, but like even more angry. You know those things in the sea everyone's terrified of that like attack people sometimes? Yeah, let's make them attack people more than sometimes, actually. Yeah. Unable to kill them, USSR military leaders launched the sharks at the moon. Seems like a reasonable response to that, to be honest. Seems totally reasonable. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, that's what I would have did.
Flash forward to present day, and the first team of American astronauts on the moon in decades must repair a module found on the dark side of the moon, where the astronauts encounter the unkillable Russian moon shark and endure an epic fight for their lives. There's only one thing worse than unkillable sharks, and that's Russian unkillable sharks. You're telling me these sharks are also communists? And I thought it couldn't get worse. That is actually the first time I am reading this, and now I'm questioning why I ever decided to watch it in the first place. This is obviously a B movie, and no, I'm not referring to the movie with Jerry Seinfeld in it, but it's a movie that has a very low budget. And there's an entire market for movies like this, kind of like bad on purpose movies that are pretty much the sole purpose is just to make fun of them. I totally get that that's what this is, and I don't know if you know this, but making a movie is hard. Like, really hard. So even just completing something like this is commendable in itself, even if it's not a very good movie. I've made short films and worked on multiple feature-length movies and TV shows, so I know how hard it is. So if anyone that actually worked on the movie is watching right now, you guys are the best. You guys are awesome. Good job. I'm sure making the movie was a lot of fun. Now, without further ado, let's make fun of this movie. It all starts with a bunch of old footage of space stuff. Rockets taking off, people in space.
Hey, look, my penis is a slinky.
People watching the rockets take off, you know, that kind of stuff. The first real shot we get is of top secret Soviet lab somewhere near Moscow, USSR. I kind of like the idea that the writers of this movie had no actual geographical knowledge of Russia, and all they knew was just like that Moscow was the capital. All of their knowledge of this world is based off of Tony Hawk's Underground 1. Imagine this sentence in like the context of the US. Top secret American lab, somewhere near New York City. You know, the top secret facility that nobody's supposed to know about. Yeah, it's like somewhere near a giant capital city with a bunch of people. The top secret lab, that is. We're then introduced to a scientist named Sergey who is feeding something in the water. What could he possibly be feeding? Is it sharks? People? Shark people? No, surely not. That's ridiculous. He is then jump scared by his colleague Aloysia because that's just the kind of workplace they have in the Soviet Union. It's the kind of workplace they run. One where you can just totally feel like one of the boys just goofing around. But unfortunately, this causes Sergey to drop the feeding bucket into the enclosure, knocking one of the lasers. I'm assuming that's a laser. I'm also assuming that the lasers are to stop like the sharks or the people or the shark people from escaping, but who's to say? I don't know how the scientists didn't notice straight away or just like even follow the metal bucket when they dropped it, but they completely ignore it and start talking about the test subjects. A metal bucket falling would have been so loud. Have you ever dropped like a water bottle before? It's like you just set off an explosion that people 3 houses down will hear you drop that bottle. It also cuts to like another shot of the enclosure and there is literally no sign of where the laser system was turned off, so that's cool. Sergey starts lore dumping. He's like, anything we throw over the barrier, they'll devour it immediately. They can easily solve basic problems. They learn the phonetic and Russian alphabet. These things are smart, way smarter than regular sharks. They know the difference between a guy on a boogie board and a seal, and they choose to eat the guy anyway. I mean, he didn't actually say that part, but I'm sure it was implied. Aloysia then hits us with a line that I'm sure totally won't come back to haunt him. Yeah. I'm sure they'll never escape. So anyway, the sharks escape. The bucket they dropped before is just like flung out of the water, and the scientists just immediately accept that they broke through the barrier. They didn't even actually see one shark. They just saw the bucket and they were like, no, that's all hope is lost. Okay, they've broken through our only defense system. We gotta run. It's then that we get some crazy action sequences, like this shark that catches someone and punches them in half. Okay. It's no secret, the CGI in this movie is not very good. We get shots of like real people running, and then the following shot is just like them clearly made out of Play-Doh, like running as well. Like the CGI is terrible. And this is something I will never understand about low budget movies. If you have no budget, don't make a sci-fi, like notoriously one of the most expensive genres to make. You have no money. So how about we don't make 2/3 of the movie CGI? Because you're not gonna be able to afford to make it look good. It is always gonna turn out looking cheap. But anyway, I would also like to point out that you think they'd have a plan for this, other than just running away. The super mutant shark people that they've been creating and testing, you don't have a plan for that. You don't have any sort of contingency. The plan is just to run away. Surely at some point someone would have said something like, what if they escape? Did they just go, no, they won't escape. I mean, we've got laser barricades. How could anything possibly escape laser barricades? I guess their main contingency has got to be this guy, right? You know, the one guy with a gun. I mean, that has to be it. I'm sure he'll stop them. So he gets eaten. The scientists get to this gate and they say, once they get into the ocean, it's over. They'll be unstoppable. Once they're in a larger body of water than the body of water we were keeping them in, we won't be able to control them anymore. They'll eat all the surfers. But Sergei is confident he can fix this. He has a plan, so they keep running. Also, I'd just like to include this shot of a random woman who takes her heel off to fight one of the shark people. Why would you do this? That is insane. She turns around heroically and thinks to herself, you know what? Enough is enough. She takes her heel off and she faces the shark one-on-one. She takes a swing at it, which it easily weaves and then is just immediately devoured. The scientists then run to a space shuttle that is for some reason also at this top secret Soviet lab somewhere near Moscow. What is a space shuttle doing there? How does a top secret facility have the capability to study both superhuman sharks and also space travel in the same place? I mean, I personally would have separated the two, but hey, maybe there's not a lot of real estate when trying to find a place to put a top secret Soviet lab somewhere near Moscow. Who knows? And for some reason, all of the sharks follow the scientists onto this spacecraft. All of them. Every single one of them. You're telling me not one of these sharks got out of their containment facility and was like, damn, maybe I want to head to the nearest ocean and find some surfers to eat. Why am I chasing my creators right now in some like weird petty vendetta? You know, there's a whole world out there. So the two shut the door to the cockpit and the sharks are seen following onto the craft, banging on the door. Just remember that. They are banging on the door. They are right outside the door. Sergei's like, I don't know how to work this thing, do you? And the other scientist is like, don't you remember your cosmonaut training? Turn on the engine and eat the gas. Sorry, what? Yes, of course, how silly of me. It's all so simple now. When people are using occupations for a basis of intelligence, the go-to is always, what do I look like, a rocket scientist? But little did they know, all they needed to do was turn on the engine and hit the gas. It's so simple, even a monkey could do it. Oh, wait, no, that actually happened. They really did that. So just so we're all on the same page here, their plan is to get all the sharks onto the craft and fly it into space because once we hit 10,000 meters, they'll have no oxygen. That's the plan? You didn't have like a gun? Or like a bomb or something? No, the best, most cost-effective and simplest method was to shoot a rocket into space? Gotcha. Yeah, no, I would have come up with the same thing. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, Sergei finally gets it working, but he can't override the preset destination. He can only launch it and it needs 1 minute. 1 minute, starting now! And then it cuts to a screen counting down from like 10. All right, so it's 10 seconds, not a minute. Or is that timer saying 10 seconds until the 1 minute timer starts? I don't know. Anyway, Sergei screams, I need more time! In the most American accent, and Aloysia does the only thing he can do in this instance. I'll give you more time. The hero's sacrifice, a classic. Every zombie movie loves this one. But how are they going to do this? I mean, they're locked in this room with sharks right at the door, remember? We saw the sharks right at the door. And it seems like they still haven't broken in, so maybe you could just, I don't know, sit there for like another minute and you'd be like totally fine. The door honestly seems to be holding up. I mean, they had enough time to have this entire conversation. And I mean, it's not like Aloysia can open the door anyway. We just saw one of the sharks right at the door. Oh, okay. Oh, he just opened it and shut it behind him. Almost like there was never a shark there in the first place. Okay. Yeah, no, cool. Yeah, sure. Also, I don't know how long this shuttle is, but it has to be pretty long because all the sharks are still running up trying to get to the cockpit. So you tell me that whole conversation, the sharks were still running up that thing trying to get to the front? Also, what happened to the one at the door? Did he just give up? He was like, man, I need more sharks, man. I'm gonna run back and get the others and then run all the way back again. So to hold them off, Ayosha does actually the dumbest thing I think I have ever seen someone do in a movie, and that is no exaggeration. There's still a lot of the movie to go, but up to this point, this is the dumbest thing I have ever seen. He grabs a flare gun and points it at them, and then he says this cool, like, badass line. And you would assume here that he shoots like one of the sharks or something, right? You'd assume that? Well, no, the flare goes straight past all the sharks. It's almost impressive that he missed them all. The sharks turn around and look at it for a second and then just continue running to the door. And then Ayosha sits down and like lights a cigarette as if he just did something like super cool and heroic. But he didn't. He bought like 1 second of extra time because they just looked at the flare for a second and were like, the fuck was that? And then just kept going. And then he's immediately ripped to shreds. So literally just should have stayed in the cockpit. Actually insane. It's like genuinely one of the dumbest things I've ever seen somebody do. Like actually no point to that scene. It was not cool at all. If I was the actor watching this movie for the first time with the final cut and all the CGI in, I would be so pissed at how dirty they did my character. The director probably told him that it was going to be like super cool and he'd like make an explosion or something and then just totally lied. So the shuttle finally launches and we are finally hit with the movie's title card, Shark Side of the Moon. Let's go, baby. How are we only 5 minutes into this thing? Oh boy, this is gonna be a long watch. The next scene opens, Cape Canaveral, Florida, present day. Where exactly is that? Is that somewhere near Moscow, USSR, or not? We're introduced to a crew of, well, I'm assuming astronauts, and they're getting ready to launch their space shuttle. To where, you might ask? Honestly, it's anyone's guess. I have no idea. And this next part is really weird, as if up to this point the movie has been totally normal, but this part is like especially weird. One of the crew voices some concerns about some stomach pain that they have.
I think I shouldn't have had those tacos.
Classic joke right there. Hey, save your fuel here, guys. Old engineer Gilmore might have enough explosive diarrhea to launch this shuttle on her own. But that's not the weird part. It's quickly pointed out that she thinks it might be something else. The doctor presses on her stomach once, literally one time, and immediately goes,
Got a possible appendicitis.
oh, it's appendicitis. Yeah, she's got appendicitis right now. Yeah, I can tell. What are the odds of that? About 7 to 8.6% actually. I mean, those are the real numbers for the chances of that. So they alert Mission Control. Mission Control's like, well, we're not delaying the mission, so we're still going ahead with it.
We need to delay launch. No can do, Commander.
And at first I thought, oh my God, they're gonna send this lady up with an appendix that's about to explode. She's going to die like 20 seconds into this expedition. But that's not what happens. We cut to about 10 shots of somebody riding their motorcycle on a highway with no explanation, and it turns out to be the substitute for this lady. So this person was in the movie for like 10 seconds and was replaced. Why have her there in the first place? Is it just to like fill up minutes on the movie? Like, did you not have enough pages in your script? That was such a useless scene. Like, it did not add anything to the movie. The guy replacing her is this like classic laid back cool guy with a whole lot of attitude that doesn't take authority very well. But god damn is he good at his job.
I know none of us are happy about it, but he's the best at what he does.
They launch successfully and the crew get to hang out while they wait to land on the moon. I hope they don't land on the sharks. The next scene we are introduced to a scientist that is working on making a
renewable source of energy that will support generations of thousands of people living on the moon.
No big deal. And you didn't think to finish this research before you went to space? You're like 68 hours away from landing on the moon and you're telling me you're still figuring it out? On the shuttle, in space, on the way to the moon? This is worse than when I would leave my assignments until the day before they were due. Why did that sound like it was like a Family Guy flashback?
This reminds me of the time Peter left his...
Apparently the research has something to do with algae, which I didn't know at the time, but algae is a big theme in this movie.
You love the team that discovered, what, 1,000 new uses for algae? What's one more, right?
Like, lots of problems are solved with algae. So just remember that. Kind of makes you rethink washing your water bowl next time, doesn't it, huh? As they get closer to the moon, they start getting some electromagnetic disturbance.
Commander, we have a bit of electromagnetic disturbance.
But they don't think much of it, and they just go to sleep.
I'm gonna get some shut-eye.
Finally, they begin to land, but all of a sudden, their ship starts to veer off course. Something's scrambling their computer, they can't reach mission control, and the closer they get to the moon, the worse the interference gets. I hope it's not sharks. Well, that would be bad. But it won't be, right? It won't there won't be sharks. It's quite the conundrum. So what do they do to fix this advanced spacecraft and get it functioning how it was intended?
Restart the ship.
Captain, that's insane.
That's right. The commander commands them to try the old off and on method. Just turn the ship off, turn it back on, should fix everything. You know, if being an astronaut doesn't work out, she can always get a job in IT. Unfortunately, this doesn't really fix it, and they crash on the far side of the moon, smashing into the only communication relay with Earth on the way, losing communication with Earth altogether. Nice. You have the whole moon to land on, and you crash into that. Okay. Honestly, statistically, it's impressive. Everyone survives completely unscathed somehow.
Is anyone hurt?
Negative, Commander.
And the crew decide to go out and scavenge a nearby rover for parts to see if they can rig something up to communicate with Earth. They leave the ship and oh my god, that is an insane shot. It looks like a cutscene you would see in Battlefront 1 on the PS2. Anyway, they find this rover and they start to scavenge it, but you know how I was saying before that they all survived the crash completely unscathed? Well, one of them gets a blood nose, which he thinks is from the crash.
What is it, Liam? Bloody nose.
Personally, I think he's just trying to lay the seeds for a workers' compensation lawsuit later down the line, but that's just me. Now, just to note, the bloody nose is in a completely sealed spacesuit on the moon, a place with no atmosphere. What could go wrong, right? Wrong. We are immediately met with something moving, nay, swimming under the moon's surface. Which is a crazy concept, honestly. So basically, you're telling me the shark smelt that. The blood from this man's nose inside a completely sealed spacesuit. On the moon. Well, nothing else has made sense at this point, so yeah, sure. Why would it now? Okay, yeah, fine. I guess you smelt it. They realize that whatever it is, they need to get back to the ship, and they start running away. Slowly. Very slowly. In a very clearly pretending to be in low gravity kind of way. But, like my dad always taught me, when you're being chased by a hybrid Superman shark on the moon, you don't have to outrun the hybrid Superman shark. You just have to outrun the guy with the blood nose. I always love that saying. Super wise guy. So the shark bursts out of the ground and eats the guy while the rest of them run away, and holy shit. Why does that shark look like that? Oh my god. Is that supposed to be like a goblin shark hybrid? Ew, dude. Yeah, let's choose like the ugliest shark imaginable and like do experiments on it. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, he's totally not going to get bullied by the other sharks. Now let's also get one of those Greenland sharks that looks like a literal turd and make him super intelligent too. Yeah, that's a good idea. Sorry, but if I looked like that, I would be evil too. You know, the poor guy. The shark goes to get another person, but spontaneously combusts? What the fuck was that? And why are the sharks on the moon? Also a great question.
I think someone must have set a trap.
That's the conclusion you come to? Someone else on the moon setting traps. Where? And why the fuck would there be a trap there specifically? It's the moon. What are the odds that a trap set on the moon would just so happen to go off right where you land and only blow up the shark? But more to the point, who set the trap? And it's here that we are reintroduced with the Russian scientist Sergei. Oh my god, he survived. And he's not wearing a helmet. Or anything space related, really. Also, a girl's there too, and she has even less gear on. I mean, at least Sergei has like a tube thing. The girl looks at one of the dudes really weirdly and gets like intimately close with him. And then one of the crew points out the girl's back and how it's got like a weird hump, and they're like,
What is up with her back?
oh, what the fuck? Dude, she's got a weird hump on her back, man. What the hell's up with that? And after pointing this out, one of the other guys just like randomly goes to like touch the hump, you know, without her permission. Crazy.
I'm sorry.
The whole thing is like a super weird, like awkward scene. I don't know why they included it. Sergei then finally introduces himself.
My name is Sergey, and this is Akula, and she is my daughter.
Huh?
Adopted daughter.
Oh, that makes way more sense. No, it doesn't. Then the commander's like, we need to go back to my ship. But Sergei's like, no, we need to go back to my ship so they can get supplies and throw the sharks off their scent.
Fine.
So they agree to go with him, and they jump into a crazy CGI rover. Like, this shit is insane. I can't believe that even the rover is CGI. Like, when will the insanity end? And before they even start driving, a shark comes out of nowhere and takes one of the crew, just picks him up and just jumps away. What the hell? I would be so concerned, but everyone's super chill and they're just like, hey man, if they were gonna kill him, they would have.
They're taking him hostage.
Again, that's a crazy conclusion to jump to. Like, I guess so, but also a giant weird hybrid shark man just took him. Should we not be a little bit more concerned about this? The commander goes to warn the crew back on the ship, but Sergei says no. They will track the radio waves back to the ship and kill everybody on it. So no contact with the ship is much safer. That's important, so remember that little fact for later. We then cut to the shark's base on the moon, and what the fuck? It is massive. How is this even possible? They're sharks, man. And they're on the moon. I understand that these are like a hybrid with humans, but that's like saying humans could do this too. If a hybrid is like taking the intelligence of a human and the strength of a shark, then it would be just as smart as you or I. Sharks are also not very smart, so combining them with a human, if anything, would just make them like a kind of dumb human. And they were never educated on any of this. You know, they could solve some basic problems while being studied, and then they were shot into space. So basically, I'm trying to say, my question is, how do they instinctively know how to make all of this? I don't have any like carnal knowledge of how to build a massive advanced like space station. Just because I can like put a square in the square hole and a triangle into the triangle cutout does not mean I can do this. Do they have some sort of a like Assassin's Creed like genetic memory that I don't know about? Anyway, we cut to inside and we see the crew member that was taken hostage being shoved into a cave prison cell by a... Wait, does that shark have boobs? What the hell? Why is that shark wearing a bra? The fuck? Also, why is it a member of the Communist Party? Are you telling me these sharks also understand different political structures and all collectively agreed that communism was the best? I guess that probably would be the only one that they know, but they also spent their entire lives underwater being studied in a lab, guarded by lasers. I don't know. Food for thought, guys. Also completely off topic, but this crew member also kind of looks like Aaron Cairo, sponsored skater from the San Francisco Bay Area.
My name is Aaron Cairo. I'm a sponsored skateboarder from the San Francisco Bay Area.
So I'm just going to refer to him as Aaron Cairo from now on. So Aaron Cairo, sponsored skater from the San Francisco Bay Area, walks around and he hears some sharks speaking Russian, asking about what they're going to do with him. We find out that the sharks are the ones that brought the ship down because they need it to return to Earth, but they can't find it because it doesn't have any power, thus doesn't have any electromagnetic signal. In case you didn't know this, sharks actually detect electromagnetic signals to find their prey, which is actually pretty insane. So I think that this is unironically a nice touch, believe it or not. We also meet Sania Sella, the queen of the sharks, and also owner of the skinniest arms I've ever seen on a shark, which is a weird comparison to make, but up to this point, I've seen a lot of sharks with arms. And she begins to interrogate old Aaron Cairo here. Sergei and the crew make it back to his ship, and we finally find out just how they survived for this long. Conveniently, it turns out that they use algae to produce oxygen, and that's why they can breathe inside the ship. So let me get this straight. You're telling me there was algae on the ship when it took off? What the hell was algae doing on a spaceship? In a top secret Soviet lab somewhere near Moscow, nonetheless. And also, like, having enough algae to support the life of him is like, that has to be a lot of algae. It is also revealed here that the daughter is half shark, and before you say, hey, she doesn't look half shark, don't worry. She shows us her gills, so it checks out.
I'm one of them. Created to survive.
Ew, dude. Buy me dinner first. I mean, do you show that to everybody? Is that like just something you do to introduce yourself to people? We get some character development chit chat. Boring, you know, just getting to know the characters. And then the crew put on a bunch of suits that Sergei made that just so happen to conveniently
block body heat and electromagnetic frequencies, rendering us invisible to them.
While keeping your own body heat to protect you from the frigid moon's temperatures.
What the fuck is this? Is this guy Tony Stark? Tony Stark built this on the moon with a bunch of sharks. Yeah, okay, that's convenient, sure. I'm not even gonna question how that's possible or why nobody has to wear anything on their faces for that to work. I'm more confused about how he just so happened to have enough suits for everybody. And why did he make more of those hats? Are they a part of the suit? That hat sucks. Sergei then answers another question I had. Man, this dude is like Morpheus from the Matrix. He's just like an encyclopedia of knowledge. He says that the sharks also get their oxygen by eating the algae. The fuck? And he gets it by putting it in his suit.
And I put some in my back, you know, in my suit.
Like a makeshift oxygen tank.
Firstly, gross. Secondly, that still doesn't explain why he isn't wearing a mask in the cold vacuum of space. And thirdly, where the fuck did all this algae come from? You know how people joke about the moon being made of cheese? Maybe it's actually just made of algae. Who knows? I mean, they're on the dark side of the moon. There's probably heaps of mold on that side. It gets no sunlight. Humidity's out of control on that side of the moon. And the crew's like, okay, yeah, sure, the algae explains the oxygen, but how were you able to survive this long on the ship?
Well, The ship was filled with experiments. I was able to grow my own food.
The ship was full of experiments? Are we looking at the same ship here? I mean, that thing was empty. I remember it because his mate just shot a flare gun from one side to the other, and it was not very big. And this next part is so dumb. Oh my God, this next part is so dumb. They prepare to set out, and the commander says everyone needs to be careful not to use anything electromagnetic because they don't want to alert the sharks. And then proceeds to do exactly that.
Ellie, if you can hear this, do not respond. I repeat, do not respond. The ship is in danger of being attacked.
This is insane. I can't believe it. The ship then receives the message and of course just immediately just jump on the radio just trying to communicate back.
Commander Tress. Nicole!
Hey guys, it's Nicole.
Like, hey, what's going on here? After being told not to over the radio. What is everyone's problem in this movie? And of course, all this electromagnetic flim-flam catches the attention of a hammerhead shark and he starts heading towards the ship. Good job, guys. Most people can tell that a movie is bad, but a lot of people can't exactly pinpoint exactly why it was bad. I'll tell you a major reason right now. It's when the only way that the writers can figure out how to add conflict or progress the story is by making the characters do something incredibly dumb with no actual reason. To be a commander of a space expedition, you'd have to be pretty switched on to say the least. But they make her do that. The one thing that is clearly stated multiple times as a death sentence to the people on that ship, that is bad writing. Whoa, you're telling me using the radio is going to kill the people on the ship? Man, I gotta warn them. Let me just jump on the radio real quick and tell them not to use the radio. That is bad writing. Well, it's one example anyway. Here's another. After receiving this message, more crew decides they need to leave the ship to find the other crew that just left the ship for some fucking reason.
We have a crew to find.
It took me 2 days to watch this movie, by the way. I'm not even kidding. Now is a good time to check back on Aaron Cairo, and he is getting slapped around by a shark, asking about where his ship is, getting interrogated. And of course, he won't tell them, so this great white shark named Scar, with the boobs that we saw earlier, just bites his leg off? Bit his leg off. No warning at all. Naturally, as you would after having your leg bitten off by a shark-human hybrid, he gives in and tells them where the ship is as long as they promise not to hurt the crew.
Promise me you won't hurt my crew.
On my honor as Zarina, ruler of the hybrid sharks.
Hey, yeah, I swear on my honor. Like, I'm totally not going to kill, like, the entire crew, but come on. Are we really going to trust a hybrid shark-human, guys? I mean, come on. Seriously, what are we doing? But, of course, he trusts her, points it out on a map, and they roll out to take the ship and probably kill everybody on it. Look, I don't blame him. I mean, he literally got his leg bitten off. What's to say they won't bite his other leg off? But I mean, to be like, yeah, I'm sure she won't kill them after they just did not even hesitate to bite my leg off. Come on, man. The crew and Sergei decide to go on a rescue mission to save this guy, so they arrive outside the shark's base, which is crazy. I didn't even know they were going to go full Master Chief and like take the fight to them. But I guess Aaron Cairo, sponsored skater out of the San Francisco Bay Area, is probably a really valued member of the team. And the crew devise an absolute genius plan to sneak into this place.
If we go in through the back, we should have a clear shot.
Go in the back way. Of course, that's genius. It's so smart. Everywhere has a back way that's easy to sneak into and way less guarded than the front way. How do these evil base designers keep overlooking this very small but massively overlooked hole? But right before they can start their plan, shark attack. Like one shark. Like one shark attacks them. We then get this fight scene that would rival The Matrix in style and the Saw movies in gruesomeness, with everybody pretending to be fighting in slow motion, which looks like super janky. And then they cut the shark's eyes off. I'm starting to think that they're the real villains here. I'm starting to think that the sharks are simply out here for survival. And that's not bad enough. We get this crazy wide shot of the daughter jumping over the shark, twirling her spear for like style points, I guess, and then actioning the finishing blow, murdering this shark in cold blood. I mean, she is part shark, so she does have cold blood, so that kind of makes sense. And they've done this a few times now, but it is the funniest thing. They do the entire fight scene like mimicking moon gravity, and then as soon as the fight is over and they go back to normal and start using close-up shots again, they just like stop acting like they're on the moon, just completely pretend that didn't happen at all. Guys, come on, let's either do it the whole movie or let's not do it at all, okay? We can't have it in between. Also, after this fight scene, it really kind of like solidified it in my mind. Arguably the biggest plot hole in this entire movie The sharks really don't seem like that much of a threat. Considering a spear can just kill them. You just cut that shark's eyes out and then stabbed him in the back and he died. Are they really that concerned with these things getting back to Earth? Earth has guns. You just cut a shark's eyes out with a rock. I'm pretty sure they'll be fine. After that exhilarating scene, we cut back to the crew trying to find the crew we just saw out on the moon. And they see what is clearly a hand from like genuinely like 5 meters away. And they're like, is that a piece of fabric? And then it cuts to a close-up of just like a severed hand, like just full blown, like very obviously it's a severed hand. And they're like, I don't know. Maybe we need to get a little bit closer. It could be anything, really. And then when they finally get closer, they recognize it as Liam's hand, just like straight away.
Oh my God. Liam.
How the fuck do you recognize someone by their hand? Straight away. She didn't even hesitate. She was just like, oh my God, Liam. It's Liam's hand. I know that hand anywhere. Is there like a feet finder equivalent for hands or something I don't know about? Because she was quick on that. And of course, because they're out in the open on the goddamn moon, a shark spots them and they try and run, but it kills Owen straight away. Rest in peace, man. Or should I say rest in pieces? Yeah. Anyway, next part of the script. Then another fucking weird goblin shark looking thing just like appears and starts screaming. And in every close-up, he has like what's clearly a spear in his hand. And then every running shot, he just doesn't have the spear. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe there's a deleted scene on like the DVD, like commentary or something like that will explain what happened in between him having the spear and not. I don't know. So she runs for about 2 seconds and then being maybe possessed by the spirit of that one lady that had like a high heel and turned back and started fighting the shark at the start of the movie. She says, no, I'm going to stand and fight. So she picks up a rock, or at least I think she did. There's actually nothing in her hand. But then in the next shot, she does have a rock and then she throws it at the shark. The shark just kind of goes, and then keeps running. I mean, I don't know. What was that? Oh fuck, it's a fucking rock. Fuck. And then it just jumps on her and eats her. Her back specifically for a while too. Like it's a really long shot. So they're both dead. Anyway, kind of feels like the writers were like, damn, we wrote too many characters into this movie. We got to kill some off. Maybe two of them just leave the rover for like no fucking reason at all and they just get eaten by a shark. Yeah, sure, let's do that. It'll take like 2 seconds. Back on the ship, the only 2 people left on it calculate their way home.
We have to get this bucket of bolts off the ground and head it back to Earth in less than 6 hours.
So what do you think they do? You know, what do you think they do? Do they wait for the crew to get back? Or do they radio again? They radio again. Yeah, that's what they do.
Is anybody out there?
I don't even know what to say, man. Let them die at this point. And of course, because of this, the hammerhead shark that we saw earlier finds the ship, but we cut back to the crew going to the shark base. You know, a little bit of a cliffhanger there. Sergei's like,
To get attacked, remember one rule. If we draw blood, we draw attention.
Because the sharks can't smell the blood out on the lunar surface because there's no atmosphere. But in here, in the base, they have their own atmosphere, so they can smell everything. So how the fuck did the sharks smell that guy's blood nose before? Were the sharks just conveniently just like swimming under the surface or something like that at the time? And they're just like, oh, actually, there's like a bunch of fucking random humans out there. Should we kill them? There's like a massive plot hole. I mean, how do they not realize that? Or actually, oh my God. It's just come to me right now. Wait, maybe this movie isn't actually as dumb as I thought. Maybe it's because their bodies gave off a faint electromagnetic signal. Those sharks tracked them down. Oh my God, I'm so smart. That's exactly what it is. This is the greatest movie ever. They've thought of everything. They end up capturing this shark and asking it where they're holding Aaron Cairo, sponsor skater from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Где вы держите пленника?
He drew blood to alert the guards.
Oh no. So they all run off and leave him, but then the daughter randomly goes,
Can't risk it.
and stabs him in the heart. Okay. Risk what? He already alerted the other sharks. So what, can't risk him living out the rest of his days remembering that one time he almost died? Living every day as if it were his last, growing a newfound appreciation on life after having a near-death experience? Who are the real bad guys here? I think I have my answer. Turns out it didn't actually matter if the shark told him or not anyway, because the very next cave is the one they're holding Aaron Cairo, sponsored skater from the San Francisco Bay Area in. So they didn't actually need to interrogate that shark in the first place at all. They just kind of killed him. Seems like the whole cave system is actually pretty straightforward. Maybe that's why he didn't say anything, because he was so stunned at just how dumb of a question it was. There's probably a sign hanging like right above them which said like prisoners on the left and then like toilets on the right. Aaron Cairo basically tells the crew like the entire Sharks plan, you know, like
They're gonna use the ship to get back to Earth.
which is somehow surprising to them. Sergey even goes,
Earth has all the resources they need to become the dominant species.
yeah, no shit. It's Earth and they're on the moon. It has a lot more resources than the moon. The moon is a rock. Wait a minute. The Earth has the internet, all the resources they need to become Reddit mods. We gotta stop them. They're gonna take my job.
I'm gonna lose my job.
They actually do ask a pretty logical question, which is like,
Why wouldn't they just use your ship?
but then it's immediately derailed because he says,
My ship is barely big enough just for Akula and myself.
buddy, are you forgetting the part where you flew the ship to the moon with like 15 of these things on it? That doesn't even make any sense. They definitely could have just taken the ship back to Earth. But then he also says that they don't have enough fuel and they only have Cold War technology. So there's no way to like really plot a course back to Earth, even though they can kind of like see the Earth from the moon. So they probably, it's probably not that hard to plot a course back to Earth. It's like kind of like a straight shot. On their escape, and completely not addressing the part where Henry's suit just has like a giant hole in it now because a shark fucking ate his foot, they stumble upon the egg room and the commander goes,
What are these?
what do you think they are, Commander? Huh? Let's use your powers of deduction here. They're clearly fucking shark eggs. They've got baby fetus sharks in them. How did you pass astronaut college? Actually, now that I think about it, the only thing you need to learn as an astronaut is to turn on the engine and hit the gas, right? So, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense now.
There are so many. Earth would never stand a chance.
You have spears and you've killed multiple. Earth has guns. You have spears and you've killed a bunch of them. Earth has guns. You had spears and you're fine. I think Earth is going to be fine. We get a little bit of a debate here about whether or not they should just like kill all of these eggs, which is pretty crazy to be honest. But before they can make a decision, one of the babies starts screaming, sounding an alarm. Can you imagine being a baby and hearing this conversation like right outside your egg? Little baby sharks. Akula, the daughters, then stays behind for some fucking reason, I don't know why, and comes face to face with the queen, who then tries to like recruit her, kind of like the Sorting Hat and Harry Potter trying to convince Harry to join Slytherin, even though they literally abandoned her as a child. That's like the whole reason she's working with the humans, because she was a freak of nature that kind of looked like a human, so they kicked her out. The queen leaves and the others come back into the room as if they were like just waiting outside, and they're like,
Where have you been?
and she's like, yeah, it's totally fine. Like, I didn't talk to the queen about switching sides or anything. Back on the ship, the hammerhead shark starts breaking through. And at this point, the last two crew members on the ship haven't actually seen a shark, but one of them looks at a perfectly normal door and just immediately concludes that it's a shark by saying,
Those look like shark teeth.
and then they just go, yep, sharks on the moon. That makes sense. All right, we gotta hide. Where? Where did she look? I didn't see any teeth. Are we looking at the same door here? And that's the conclusion you come to? I mean, you're right, but that's really the first thing that gets into your head. But it is a good guess because she's right, and they come face to face with it. The crew get in the rover and start heading back to the ship, but then like out of nowhere, a giant shark starts chasing them. But not like a human hybrid shark, just like a really big giant shark that just starts flopping around after them. I have so many questions. You're telling me they kicked out Akula, the like kind of human looking one, but this freak abomination that's just a shark, a giant shark, they were like, yeah, no, let's actually keep that one. This thing is massive. I mean, how do they even begin fighting this thing? Okay, the daughter just throws a spear at it and it runs away.
Nice shot.
Okay, fair enough. Again, why are we worried about them coming to Earth? They get to the ship and inside they find the dead shark and the two crew members. So they killed one of these things with a spanner and a pipe. That's it. And again, just to reiterate, I know I've said it, but we are still worried about them getting to Earth, right? That's something we're still concerned about. Sure, they killed some unarmed people, but in terms of fighting people with actual weapons, they are like 0 for 3 when it comes to anybody having like anything better than a stick. They say that they can get off the moon using some of the oxygen and some of the algae biofuel that the girl's been working on. For what? Like the 2 hours they've been gone? You're telling me that she didn't have that already prepped before they left the Earth?
Just a little bit of algae biofuel that I hooked up while everybody was out.
The two of them see the dude without a leg and they're like, oh my God, what happened to you?
Oh my God. Henry, what happened?
And he tells them that the shark tortured him into telling him where the ship is, to which this dude gets so angry.
That's how they were able to find the ship. They tortured me.
What? You did what?
Dude, did you miss the part where his fucking leg is missing? His leg was bitten off by a freaking shark and you have the audacity to be like, Like, man, I can't believe you gave up the ship's position like that. Me, personally? Yeah, I would never have done that. They could have bitten off 2 legs. Like, yeah, my fucking leg was bitten off. And you think you wouldn't say anything? Just a shark human looking thing asking me questions. I'd tell it whatever it needed to know. I'd be so terrified. But also, like, what are you really worried about? You literally beat it to death with a wrench anyway. Like, are we really that concerned there's gonna be like a few more sharks that rock up? They make a plan to repair the ship and leave, but oh no, the sharks are here and there's at least 20 of them. So they're surrounded at this point, and they're worried. I mean, as they would be, but don't worry. Legless dude has an idea. He grabs a blowtorch and they all go,
Henry, no!
That's too dangerous!
What was he going to do? All he did was grab a blowtorch. It isn't explained at all. They all just kind of like telepathically know what he's about to do. Then he gives this like really sad speech, acting like everybody deserves to go home except for him because he gave up the ship's location, and it's like totally fine for him to sacrifice himself. Dude, a shark ate your leg. Nobody's blaming you except maybe that one guy.
Let him go. He's the reason why we're in this mess.
If anything, you're probably the most deserving of surviving and going home, man. You don't have a leg. And then the commander gives him a hug and is like,
If we return, I will make sure you receive the highest possible commendations.
bro, like I give a fuck. I'll be dead. That doesn't mean anything. So he goes off to enact his plan and the crew takes cover. And what happens next, you will never guess. Genuinely, you'll never guess. At this point, I thought the dumbest thing I'd ever seen in this movie was the guy at the start shooting the flare across the entire ship. But no, this genuinely takes the cake as the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a movie. Did anybody guess that was his plan? When he grabbed the blowtorch, everyone was like, no, don't do that. There's better ways. Do what? There's no way you could have guessed that he was going to do that. No, don't jump on the blowtorch and use it as like a little broom and then fly away with it. It's too dangerous. I thought he would use like one of the oxygen tanks and like light it on fire and like make a bomb or something like that. But no, he just kind of sat on it and flew away like he was playing Quidditch. But unfortunately, one of the sharks does catch him and they bite the can, giving him just enough time to say, and fucking explodes. To which the crew check an iPad with a perfect view of the bloody patch he left behind and go,
All clear.
All clear? What? Where was that camera? How'd you have a perfect view of right where he exploded? No remorse either. They're just like, all clear. All right, well, he sacrificed himself. All right, sweet. But saying that, somehow, like, Tom, the guy that was super happy that he was going to go out there and sacrifice himself, is like beside himself, devastated about it. You are literally the one that advocated for this. Yeah, you should go out there and sacrifice yourself. It's the whole reason the sharks are outside anyway. I can't believe he did it though. Fuck. I was just joking. It was just a prank, bro. But there is no time to mourn because now they're surrounded and they decide to hide in different parts of the ship, like hide and seek, to avoid the sharks. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's driving a buggy. That's crazy. It's crazy to think that the shark-human hybrids came up with the concept of a buggy on their own and then made a bunch of them and then started driving them around. Algae Lady makes it to her lab and then starts turning on iPads. It's good to know it's 10:17. Also, she turned on like a few of the microscopes too. Like, what are you gonna do?
I quickly gotta analyze some of these specimens, quick. Oh.
Anyway, she hides under like a very high table. Like it's very clearly a very high table. I don't know how the shark that comes in right after this doesn't see her. But then even more to the point, somehow she bumps it and then dies. That's it for her character. She died. She turned on some iPads and then she died. Okay, cool. What a noble sacrifice.
Oh, I've got to check Instagram. I got a couple likes. I just uploaded a reel.
The guy that wanted Aaron Kara to die runs in to get the flight path that he calculated before because he doesn't want the sharks to have it, and we get the funniest interaction ever.
Oh, shit.
That's the best. He doesn't even fall like the correct way that he gets hit too. It's just... this movie's the best, man. This movie is the best. And the shark kills him too. Michael's character, the guy that was the substitute at the start of the movie that was like the cool bad boy type thing, has somehow divulged into just like a super shark racist, a speciest. He was like advocating for killing all the eggs before, and I completely forgot to mention this, but on the way out of the cave, he actually did kill a few for like no reason at all, like genuinely no reason at all. There's not even a shot of it. He just kind of like throws a rock into the distance and then it is assumed he killed like a dozen eggs. But now when he comes face to face with one on the ship, he just goes,
"You're a freak of nature, you know that?"
What the hell, man? That was so uncalled for. He's gonna think about that for the rest of his life now. Sticks and stones may very well kill a mutant shark, half human, half shark hybrid, but words will scar forever. And then it gets even worse because he gets his spear knocked out of his hand and then he just like spits on the shark.
Do your worst.
He wipes the spit off like, what the fuck? Why'd you spit on me, dude? What the hell? And then the rest of the crew just like telepathically knows what's going on with this interaction and all just like rush into the room.
Stop! We surrender.
What was the point of any of that? Wait a minute. I think Michael just spat on one of those sharks. Well, we gotta surrender now. Michael's our most valued crew member. He's really racist. The queen then comes in to confront everybody and try and recruit the daughter again, to which she says no a second time. Get the hint, lady. She's like an Uber driver who just won't take "I have a boyfriend" for an answer. And the commander's like, dude, we can help you, man. We can give you supplies. You know, we can make you thrive on this planet. And then the queen's like,
I'd rather take Earth for my own.
kind of based, honestly. But then she just does some like absolutely Dr. Evil level shit here and just completely leaves them to their own devices. Like, watch them die, man. Like, they're gonna foil your plans. They're gonna escape whatever like thing you've just like left for them. They're going to stop you. She just sends Scar in again with her big old shark boobs. But then Aaron Cairo, like out of nowhere, just comes back and saves him. So somehow he survived the explosion. I don't know how. Maybe it's something only sponsored skaters from the San Francisco Bay Area learn. Maybe it's like something you need to know to get sponsored as a skater, but he survived and then is swiftly eaten by another shark, so it all kind of meant nothing. They then kill that shark and find old mate's hand still holding the USB with the flight plans on it. So they change plans again. I swear to God, how many plans are they gonna make in this movie? It feels like most of the plot I have been explaining is like, so they do this and then they make a plan and then they go to do the plan and then they're like, wait a minute, we need a new plan. That's the whole movie. So with the flight plans in hand, they try to escape the ship by jumping out
One at a time to be safe.
for some reason with these really bad CGI shots. But before the daughter can jump, right before she can jump, because they're all jumping out one at a time, again, for no reason at all. The queen catches on and then comes face to face with the cooler again. They have like a brief conversation. She's like, where's Scar, the big booby shark? Like, where'd she go? And then Akula's like, we killed him. We killed Scar. Boobies and all, cut him off. To which the queen's like, no! And then charges the daughter and oh my God, what the hell?
It's a cooler. And something else.
Yeah, it's the fucking shark she just sent out the door. They then look at the queen's corpse and go,
That's Zarina?
and the daughter goes,
It was. Pretty sure she got some brain damage or worse.
worse? What could possibly be worse? Death? Severe brain damage? Also, she fell like the same height as you with moon gravity. I don't see how she could have got brain damage. I think she's going to be perfectly fine. I don't know. Hey, maybe I'm sowing the seeds for something later on. Maybe she does survive. She survives. She does survive. We get another chase scene with more sharks, but then they just hide behind like this rock for some reason and then make another plan. It's another plan again. Scrap all the other plans you've heard because there's another one. Sergey says like there's a way they can destroy all the sharks and the ship before it leaves using the nitrogen-enriched soil they use to grow crops to make a bomb to aggravate the magma under the moon's surface and kill them all.
I can fly my rocket straight into the crater.
Anything will be wiped out of the surface within 50 miles.
50 miles?
The geothermal disturbance will create tidal waves of lava that will spread easily over 50 miles.
That's what I said. Yes, 50. Yeah. Well, okay, so we don't actually need to keep repeating it. They get back to his ship and Akula's like,
I'll stay with you.
but Sergey says no.
I need you to go with Nicole and keep the hybrids off my back.
Kind of like what he did at the very start. And we all know how that turned out. I'm starting to sense a pattern here. This seems to be like his thing. He then hands her this thing and I have no idea what he's saying. I'm just going to play it.
I was save it for a long time while we land in the sea. Keep it on you. When you land, it will do the job.
What? What thing? What job?
Trust me, it will do the job.
What job? What are we talking about? It's such a crazy thing for him to do. Literally the same thing at the start, getting other people to hold them off while he flies the ship. But I guess he is literally going to like pilot this thing into the ground and explode. So Fair enough. While holding the sharks off, the queen shows up again, so I guess she didn't have brain damage. And holy shit, what the fuck is that thing? Is that the giant shark from before that was like chasing them and like got like scared off with one spear? What a freak, dude. He honestly looks like he'd make a great McDonald's toy, to be honest. Maybe that's what they were going for with his design. And while Sergei's flying this ship, the crew tries to hold off the sharks, but the queen literally picks all 3 crew members up like one at a time and just throws them into the mouth of this thing like hungry hippos, hungry crew mates. Just throws them into this shark's mouth. No explanation at all. Just like picks them up and just like throws them in. Sergei literally suicide bombs himself into this base with like a tiny explosion that leads to a big explosion. The ship is destroyed with another boob shark. For some reason, rest in peace. I guess there was more than one of them. And the magma kills the rest of the sharks and sends the freak shark that just ate all 3 crew members into space. Now, I know what you're thinking. Did everyone just die? What the hell? What kind of an ending is that? But don't worry, this next part will make even less sense to you. The moon transitions to Earth and the freak shark corpse is sent through the atmosphere and lands in the water. And I genuinely don't know how this is possible, but it crashes into the water and turns into a boat which the 3 crew that just got eaten swim into. How the fuck did they survive? Where did the boat come from? Is that what that little pendant thing that Akula was given by Sergei was before? Was that a boat? Was there a boat in that little pendant? I have so many questions. And to make matters worse, the daughter all of a sudden just out of nowhere gets stomach pains and literally starts giving birth to a shark. Yeah, no, this guy's face says it all. Where did that come from? That was out of nowhere. I was not expecting that. The shark hybrid is finally born, and what the fuck? Little shark racist Michael here goes,
"Oh great, now we have another mouth to feed."
And the thing lunges out, which then prompts the daughter to say,
"I've got to take care of my babies,"
and then just jumps into the water. The boat is then surrounded by like little shark hybrid babies, and the commander goes,
"We're so fucked."
And credits. That is the whole movie. That is how it ends. I'll tell you what, I'll give it credit where credit's due. I was not expecting that ending. I could never tell where the story was going to go next because they kept changing plans every 5 seconds. And that ending, wow. It honestly left me speechless. And that is Shark Side of the Moon. One of the worst experiences of my life, but my God, I would watch it again with a group of friends just to make fun of it all over again. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Leave a little comment of a little shark if you made it this far. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.